Alright guys, I am terribly sorry for the delay in this particular video, but I was just not aware. I'm really dumb. I don't know why I missed it, but I really didn't know that this week's chapter came 2 days early. Just like any other week, I was waiting till Sunday to read the actual chapter and then make this review video, but I was totally unaware of the fact that this chapter actually came 2 days earlier. But either way, hey guys, my name is Soham and welcome back to WhyZ, and today once again we are talking about Dr. Stone manga chapter 156, titled Two Scientists. Now, after last week's chapter, I was almost certain that we were going to get a backstory, especially after the events that happened last week, where it was revealed that Dr. Zeno was actually Senko's science mentor. So I was pretty sure, I'm not 100%, I'm not saying that I was 100% sure, but I was pretty sure that this week's chapter was going to have some panels dedicated to a backstory where the interactions of Senko and Dr. Zeno were shown. But lo and behold, this entire chapter was dedicated to the backstory between a young Senko and Dr. Zeno from NASA. So this was really nice, this was really heartwarming to see actually. And the best part about this is definitely young Senko. Like, my heart melts whenever I see this guy. It's just heartwarming for me. But either way, the chapter begins with once again young Senko and young Taiju. This duo is unstoppable. It just gives me such a feel-good moment to see these two bonding over stuff with science. Obviously Taiju is not at all aware of what science is and what all Senko is doing, but he's there. He's just there to support Senko with whatever thing he can do. He does the heavy lifting and all these stuff. We have seen that already in the anime, but it was really nice to see all these things. Now, this is where things get interesting. We know that Senko is very brilliant and he's a genius at such a young age, but he can only go up to a certain level. With his current equipments and all the things that were available to him, he can only reach up to a certain level, which is why he does something really brilliant. He uses the dictionary to write a proper email in English and sends it to all the intelligent scientists throughout the world. And one such place where Senko's email visits is NASA at Johnson Space Center. And this is really nice to see. The interaction of the scientists in NASA, especially how they're reacting to the emails of little kids who are sending them science queries, is really nice to see. It's really heartwarming. They are getting all these kiddie sort of questions like, if the space is black, then why is the sky blue, yada yada yada, like middle school level science question. And this was nice to see the scientists actually showing some enthusiasm to answer these things. But then came Senko's email. And this really made all the scientists perplexed. Like, they are really sweating about seeing all of this stuff. We get this huge panel where Senko has written such an elaborate email where he has given a description of all the things that he has done. And I won't even go through all of this, I won't read all of this because this is not very relevant to the story. But just understand that the scientists are perplexed at how could a kid do or understand all of these things. They are basically thinking of not replying to him because they think that this might be borderline illegal or criminal to do such sort of thing, especially build a rocket with all these things. Now, I'm not 100% sure here, but I am reminded of this one particular episode of Young Sheldon, where Sheldon tries to make a certain device, but the elements required for it are very classified. They're not available everywhere. So Sheldon gets into trouble from the FBI and all the government officials for trying to do or make these sort of stuff. So I think that's why they're saying that this might be criminal to actually help Senko in doing all these sort of experiments. But we see this one scientist who is actually taking some interest in the email sent by Senko. And that scientist was none other than our Dr. Zeno. And I don't know about you guys, but this was really nice to see. Now, obviously, the unpetrified Dr. Zeno looks so innocent and genius, basically. He looks like a genius, let's be real here. But it was nice to see the interaction between these two via email, and especially after what we have seen in the current timeline. Like the rivalry that is currently going on, which might lead to a very big disaster in the Stone Age. Either way, we get back to the story and Dr. Zeno actually answers Senku's queries, and he says that he needs proper equipments to do his experiments. He's not exactly wrong, but his equipments, his cheap equipments, will not give him the desired results. And at the end of his, letter sort of thing or reply, there is one particular sentence: "Science is elegant." I got shivers from reading this. I won't lie. You see, I'm just speechless. I can't say anymore. I don't know what to say anymore. The callbacks to this episode were just so damn good, and we are getting to the Byakuya stuff in a bit, but the importance of this one particular sentence changes the entire story on its head. It's just fascinating. That one line which Luna said in the previous chapter, "Science is elegant," and we get such a huge connection. It's just so damn good. And this is my prediction. Write it down right now. This is 29 June maybe when the video is published. On 29 June 2020, I am saying this: Dr. Zeno will have a face turn. He will definitely have a turn of heart after he hears the voice of Senku, or he actually sees Senku in flesh. He is definitely going to join forces with Senku. And this is said later on in the chapter as well, and I'm getting to it in a bit. But from here, we see that again a hilarious interaction between Senku and Taiju. And one such equipment is the resistance thermometer, which is very, very costly. And after this is just classic Dr. Stone. Senku travels to America to meet his father Byakuya. But why? Not for love, not for anything, not because he's missing his father, but just to get his credit card. This is so in line with Senku that I was just laughing on the floor. He basically, okay, let me tell this properly. Byakuya is very, very happy to see Senku, his child, coming to meet him all the way from Japan to America. He just wants to show his fatherly love to Senku, but Senku is just stone-faced, cold-hearted there. "I need your magic card." He wants his credit card. Why? Because he says that all astronauts training in the US get one credit card to cover the cost of any science stuff they want to buy. This was just so hilarious. And immediately after getting that credit card, he leaves. He straight up leaves. No goodbye, no anything. He simply says his pop to get on with the times. And he again says that he will come back to US when the card max out. Classic Senku, what can I say? What more can I say? Either way, now that he has the credit card, he buys all this crazy expensive equipments to do his experiments. This was really nice. Again, there is back and forth email conversation between him and Dr. Zeno on how to conduct the experiments and the way to actually reach the rockets. I mean, there's not a straight up path to reach the rockets. First, he's doing some testings with radio, remote controlled cars, remote controlled planes, and then he will actually step up to rockets. And this is actually an interaction, or rather a conversation point between Senku and Taiju. Taiju says that, "Why are you not directly doing the rocket stuff?" So then Senku says that this is basically the essence of science. You cannot go one direction like in a straight path. You have to grasp certain aspects as well. And I think, like, this is just my speculation, a small speculation. This is going to come into the play later on in this arc, because Senku is like a master of all trades. He has I won't say master, but he definitely has knowledge in many different fields. It's not just that he likes to make gun, or he likes to make planes, he likes to make rocket. He knows, he has practical knowledge in almost every field. And I think this is going to be the basic difference between him and Dr. Zeno, because Dr. Zeno has a much more tactical and military-like approach. His thought process includes making guns, making castles, making ships, making planes, all these sort of stuff, which are very much in line with the military thought process. So I think there is going to be a conflict of ideals. I mean, obviously there is going to be conflict of morality. That is bound to happen. That is even in this particular chapter as well. But there is going to be a conflict of two different types of science users. Because in the very next panel, we get something very, very interesting. something that is addressed many a times in this series. Something that was addressed with Tsukasa, something that was addressed with the Y-Man, something that is now being addressed with Dr. Zeno, and possibly with the upcoming arcs as well. We get this panel where Dr. Zeno is saying that with science in hand, the cleverest among us could rule over the ignorant masses. It's truly an elegant power. But here we see the difference. Senko says that he doesn't want all this. He's just a dummy who wants to know every last secret of the world. He just wants to learn. He just wants to gain the knowledge. He wants to learn everything 10 billion%. He doesn't want to rule anyone. He doesn't want to belittle anyone. He doesn't want to kill anyone. He just wants to know everything there is. That's it. Now we get to the Byakuya part. This is honestly my favorite, and I am a big fan of Byakuya. I don't know about you guys if you like him or not. Okay guys, write down in the comments who is your favorite character from Dr. Stone. Is it Senko, is it Taiju, is it Byakuya, whoever, just write it in the comments. But now we get back to Johnson Space Center and we finally get the scene with Byakuya and Dr. Zeno. There is a question raised here. Well, what if you were sent back in time to the Stone Age world? What would you do then? And the answer, the straight up savage answer of Dr. Zeno was that I would recreate weapons of science from scratch and rule as a dictator. Straight up Dr. Zeno. Exactly what he is doing currently in the Stone Age world. Like, there is no doubt this is the same person. And we get an opposing intellect or opposing thought process from Byakuya, who straight up says that would be your move. But next the question pops up that what if there are other scientists there? What would Dr. Zeno do then? How would he be able to be a ruler if there are other scientists there? And to this, Byakuya actually says that, and this is very much relevant to humanity as a whole. And I really like this series, and I know I am saying this once again, but I really love this aspect of Dr. Stone, where it is trying to show a positive light on humanity and what we have achieved for all these years. Byakuya says that no matter what the era is, no matter what crazy situations humanity finds in itself, scientists are definitely going to pop up. Someone with the need or someone with the greed to know every damn thing is definitely going to pop up in whichever age you are. And this is actually very true. You go back in history, you go back to every decade, and you are bound to find one particular crazy scientist or one particular crazy man who just wants to know the phenomenon, the natural phenomenon. And that's how science has actually evolved and how it has actually helped humanity. This was brilliant stuff. This is actually going back to our own history as a whole. And I'm just amazed with all of this. But on the contrary, what is Dr. Zeno's answer? He says that in such a scenario, he would confront these other scientists in the primitive world, and they would have this sort of a duel to learn whose science is superior. Exactly what is happening currently in the manga, or rather in the Stone world. And next we get some very interesting bit of information which is very much relevant to the first arc of this story and how he got the trust of the Ishigami village in the very first place. Actually, what happens is that in high school, Senku went to Africa to study Ebola. That's just mind-boggling, but that's where he understood that sulfur drugs were actually work against pneumococcus. Again, a great callback to the original scene. Either way, we come back to the Johnson Space Center, and Byakuya is really happy that his son Senku is on the way. And who is listening to all of this? As usual, Dr. Zeno. And we get this very anime-like scene where both of these talented scientists are standing side by side, and the paneling is just brilliant. Senku is admiring the rocket when Dr. Zeno comes up by his side. They don't have any dialogue, they don't say anything. They are just standing side by side, admiring the beauty and impact of science, admiring the rocket science. It's simply amazing. I know I'm repeating myself at this moment, but it's just amazing. You guys have to definitely read this chapter to understand my emotions. But that's pretty much it. We see that Byakuya comes to greet his son, and Senku hands him over the maxed out credit card, I guess. And just that's it. Senku returns on the plane, and we see the last parting shot of Senku on plane while Dr. Zeno is watching over at the plane. And that's it. That's this chapter. That's chapter 156, Two Scientists. This was a tremendous chapter which had incredible world building and callbacks to the current as well as past of the series. I am super happy with this series, and I'm eager to know about your thoughts. What are your thoughts? Mention them in the comment section below. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more. This is WhyZ, and I'll see you soon in the next video.